crops, you have to leave over a certain small amount for the poor. And what we said was that in the biblical command, it just says leave it over for the poor. I explained a couple of weeks ago on Saturday that the master of the field is forbidden from cutting it and handing it to the poor person. What the master of the field has to do is say, here's the payah, here is the gleanings, you have to take care of it. And I explained that the reason for this was because the divine command was that the payah, the gleanings, they belong to the poor. They don't belong to the master who's being a nice guy and giving it to the poor. They belong to the poor. So that's why the master can't cut the crop for the poor. Once the poor cut the crop, whatever they take away, whether the master can give them a ride in a truck, in his truck to take them to the house, it's a different story. But they have to, because it's theirs. Then there's another question. Where do you get this payah from? We constantly think that you get it from the corners of a field. There's also no amount that's specified. It doesn't say anywhere give 1%, 10%, 50%, nothing. The rabbis made up an account that you should give 1 out of 60. So if you divide the field into 60 portions, you should give 1 portion. But that's only the rabbi's reckoning. You can give more, or if you want to be a cheapskate, you can give less. Also, there's some question about whether the payah, the gleanings, have to be from the corner of the field. Can it be from the middle? Can you leave over the middle? So it's interesting, there's no Talmud, there's no Gemara on this, but there are intimations in the Talmud about this. So I'll read it to you. First, the Mishnah. And you'll ask me a question and you'll go, very interesting. This says, the reading Masechtas Payah, the learning about the gleanings. Perik Aleph, the first chapter. Here's what the Mishnah says. Elu Devorim, these are things, she'ein lahem shiur, that do not have a measure. It doesn't say anywhere give $10, 10%, 1/16. It doesn't have a measure. Says the Mishnah, what are these things that don't have a measure? Hapeyah, this payah, the gleanings, vahabikurim, and first fruits. You all know that when first fruits began to grow, that, and we could learn this later, they put a red ribbon around it. And then when the fruit was ripe, they would pluck those fruits that were the first ones, and people from a given area would together go up to Jerusalem, and they'd bring along an offering, an animal of thanksgiving. And we'll read in the book of Deuteronomy that they said a prayer of thanksgiving. Thanks for giving. Thanks for taking us out of Egypt. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for giving us. We brought you the first fruits. And please, bless our land. And the first fruits were put down in the temple. They were eaten by the priests. And then the sacrifice was prepared. And the sacrifice was eaten by the people of that region. So the people of Fresno, it could be a lot of people. If you had 10,000 people going, it'd be an impossible situation. But let's say you had 500, and they'd bring an animal, and they'd have a big dinner, and they'd invite the priests and some other people, and this was a celebration that took place between Shavuos, between the Pentecost, which was 3 weeks ago, June the 15th or something like that, and the new fruits. It's a question when you could bring them, until after Sukkos, until the tabernacles, but sometime during the summer you'd bring the new fruits. So that's Peyo and Bikurim. Vehorayon, and the next thing is a person's supposed to show himself on the 3 holidays in Jerusalem and be happy. You're supposed to go up there with your family, your wife, and your children. How much you spend there doesn't say anywhere how much you should spend. On what you should spend it doesn't say either, but you should go up there. Okay? And that's another thing that doesn't have a measure. Ugemilas chasodim. Everyone knows what Gemilas chasodim is. Means acts of loving kindness. There's no measure that you have to give $10, $100, $1,000. No measure. Okay? The Talmud Torah and the study of Torah. Okay? So the Mishnah in Peah starts out with telling us that all these things have no measure. Then goes the Mishnah further. Ilu devorim, these are things, she'odam ochel perosehem ba'olam hazeh, that a person eats their fruits, their primary benefits in this world while we're living here. We get the primary benefits. V'hakeren, but the majority, the full measure of it, kayemes lo, exists for him la'olam haba, in the heavenly realm. And what are those things? Kibud av'em, honoring your father and mother. You're supposed to honor your father and mother in this world. And it says, what does it say in the 10 Commandments? Anybody? What does it say? What does it say? Honor your father and mother. Laman yarichin yomecha al hadoma. That in order that your life should be lengthened on this earth that God gives us. So the promise is for earthly survival, and then there's something that goes on, we don't know what that's all. So that's kibbud aveh. Ugemilas chasodim, and loves acts of loving kindness. Yeah, if a person gives charity, if he makes a soup kitchen, if he does this, if he does that, there are tangible benefits that accrue from that, but there are also, benefits that we don't understand.
This is in our Siddur.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
In the morning.
Okay, okay, good. V'havas shalom bein adam lachveiro, and making peace between one person and his friend, not fighting, but making peace. Okay? The Talmud Torah and the study of Torah. So all these things, we benefit by them in this world, but we have, ultimately greater benefit in the other world. So now Bill said something extremely important.
So it's his fault?
In my Siddur, this Siddur was slightly truncated. In my Siddur, it was once used in this congregation. Yeah.
But that's your...
So which one is this?
This is the Siddur of the Chief Rabbi of England.
Oh. Oh, wow. This was used years ago.
Still very used in a lot of places.
You can probably get it. Kurtz? What's it?
Okay. Rabbi Hertz died in 1945. He was actually an American. He was an American who had trained at the Jewish Theological Seminary at the turn of the 20th century. And somehow he went to South Africa, became a rabbi there, and became chief rabbi, and from there went to England and became the chief rabbi of the British Commonwealth. You know, the blue Chumash, the blue Bible that we read every Saturday morning?
Sim Shalom.
What?
No.
No, the blue,
Oh, the
The
hum.
Pentateuch and Haftorah.
the blue Chumash.
Yeah, the
That's
birds.
under his auspices.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the Talmuds, I've got them in there, were also under his auspices. So in this prayer book,
This wasn't used here, that somebody must have donated it. It wasn't actually.
Now it belongs.
it says like this: this book was presented by the congregation to President David Newman in his testimonial dinner, February 27th, 1965.
Oh my gosh.
So we didn't daven.
Nobody used it.
Nobody used it?
It wasn't circulated.
No, we never davened from that.
Oh, they always have them from this one?
No.
There was an older one.
It's like the third one.
Silverman.
The
Oh, the
Silverman.
Silverman?
The Silverman.
If you take out the Silverman, I'll show you that it exists.
Okay.
Okay?
That's what we used.
So here's
It was
what
the
it
Silverman.
says in the prayer book. And most of you come a little bit after I say this, because the first part of the prayers are private. You know, you're supposed to say this private. And it says like this, and it quotes the same Mishnah I just quoted to you. Ilu devorim shem, these are the things that don't have no fixed measure, the corners of the field, the first fruit, the offerings brought on appearance before the Lord at the three festivals, the practice of charity and the study of Torah, just like the Mishnah. But then, says the prayer book, these are the things of which a man enjoys the fruits in this world, while the stock remains for him from the world to come. Honoring father and mother, deeds of loving kindness, timely attendance at the house of study morning and evening.
Yeah.
See, that doesn't say there. Hospitality to wayfarers, hachnos hazarchim. Visiting the sick, does that say?
No.
No. Visiting the sick. Dowering the bride, that doesn't say. Attending the dead to the grave, that doesn't say. Okay? And devotion in prayer, that doesn't say. Making peace between man and his fellow, but the study of Torah leads to them
Exceeds
all.
them all.
So how come the people who made the prayer book added this stuff, especially about what do you call it? About attending the dead to the grave. I've never heard anybody have any conflict about any of these things until Ephraim told me what contemporary people, are thinking, which I reject.
Which is what? Which is what?
That, we don't have to do that,
Oh.
you know what I mean?
It's not our obligation.
It's well, let's give him $200 and be through with it.
Oh.
And he knocked him when he was the president of the federation. He knocked himself out to do once or two occasions, going around asking, "We got to bury a dead person who that doesn't have anything. We got to do something. Got to buy the grave. Got to do this."
Well, that's still going on.
What?
Still going on.
Yeah, but
People
there
don't
were
want it.
noises. There were noises
Oh.
that he heard. I didn't go to the meeting,
Oh.
and the truth is, I would have walked out.
Oh, I see.
I would have walked out on that
The-
meeting.
The thing, I think they say that there's acts of righteousness and acts of loving kindness. The righteousness can be done to the living, but loving kindness can be done to the dead and to the living.
Correct. Correct. That all these things are an embellishment. And so the commentaries explain. The commentaries explain that all these things are embedded in the original of the Mishnah. Being kind, being nice, being fair, giving charity, doing all these things. And the rabbis felt that we should do some things at the beginning of life, we should mention it, in the middle of life, and unfortunately at the end of life. That's why in the prayer book, all those things are mentioned. See what's mentioned, okay? Bikur Cholim, with the visitation of the sick, okay? Hachnosas Kala, giving a bride that doesn't have, you know, they don't have.
A
They,
dowry.
no, they don't have a dowry. I mean, they don't have 2 nickels to rub
So
together.
put something together.
So
for 'em.
they may have a job, but the job is just paying enough, and there's hope for the future. You think I've never seen this? I've seen it a lot. And you give them, somehow the furniture guy gives them a discount on the furniture, and the dishes guy gives a discount on the dishes, and the silverware guy gives a discount on the silver, you know, something to make the bride's life easier. And then visitate, you know what I mean, putting the dead to their eternal rest. You know, there's some people don't have anything. So what can I tell you?
But
So,
Rabbi,
yeah.
there's nothing in there about giving the kid who has his bar mitzvah nourishing gifts.
You mean like
lavish gifts.
You mean like making a bar mitzvah in the Orange
The
Bowl?
orange, yeah, having this
And
big bar
what else?
mitzvah
At Madison
party,
Square Garden?
The
and-
bar mitzvah party.
And on a yacht, which was fit for the King of
Did
England?
they have bar mitzvahs?
The safari in Africa?
That's a
But
party.
I mean, making a big deal about the bar mitzvah.
Okay,